Today we will watch The Grey Man. The film opens in 2003 with our film's hero Gentry serving a prison sentence for murder. Visited by Donald Fitzroy of the CIA, Gentry is offered the chance to join the Sierra program, a highly secretive unit of covert operatives comprised of former criminals whose identities remain unknown to both the agency and one another. Knowing that, at only 23 years old, Gentry still has decades before his time is up, Fitzroy agrees to serve as his handler and promises him a commuted sentence in exchange for his services as an assassin for the CIA. Gentry agrees, but ponders how long he will have to remain in service of the agency and if he will ever be allowed to retire, to which Fitzroy does not respond. The film then shifts to Bangkok, 18 years later, where Gentry, now identified solely by his call sign Sierra 6, is carrying out a hit alongside his partner, Danny Miranda, during a New Year's celebration. Fitzroy has since been forced to retire and 6 is the last remaining asset of the now-defunct Sierra program, making him a point of contention for his new handler, the devious and immoral Denny Carmichael. Although 6 manages to obtain a clear shot for his target, he decides not to take it after a child gets in the way, greatly upsetting Carmichael. Chasing his target on foot, 6 manages to subdue him while Miranda incapacitates his security. Before 6 can kill the man, however, he reveals himself as Sierra 4, revealing to 6 that Carmichael had been secretly planning the disposal of all Sierra operatives, and gave a thumb drive to 6, which contained damning information on Carmichael in his dying moments. 6 sends the thumb drive's contents to Fitzroy and his other former handler, Margaret Cahill, before arranging for passage out of Thailand. Fitzroy and his teenage niece, Claire, are eventually kidnapped by Lloyd Hansen, a rogue mercenary and torture specialist on Carmichael's payroll who is out to retrieve the thumb drive before any of the information is revealed. Placing them in a mansion in Croatia, Hansen repeatedly tortures Fitzroy for information pertaining to 6 and the thumb drive, and threatens Claire on numerous occasions. Much to the disapproval of Carmichael's right-hand agent, Suzanne Brewer, whom he had sent to oversee Hansen's operation, Fitzroy is forced to give up 6's location and has him trapped on a cargo plane with a team of other mercenaries. However, 6 manages to overpower their attempts to kill him, escaping the plane as it crashes near Turkey. Flashbacks reveal that Fitzroy became Claire's guardian following her parents' deaths, and that the two were the closest thing 6 had to a family following his employment by the CIA. 6 had previously been assigned to protect Claire, who suffers from a heart condition and requires a pacemaker, while Fitzroy left town for a few days. Though the two struggled to see eye to eye at first, 6 eventually earned Claire's trust after he brought her to the hospital following a malfunction with her pacemaker, and after he saved her from an assailant who had broken into their home during the night. Returning to the present, 6 makes his way to Berlin following the plane crash, where he meets with document forger Laszlo Sosa, planning to use the serial number of Claire's pacemaker to locate the Fitzroys. Before he is able to do so, however, Sosa traps him in a hole, hoping to receive money for the bounty Hansen placed on 6's head. Hansen arrives with his team and quickly kills Sosa before descending upon 6. 6, having built a makeshift bomb to break the building's water lines and flood the hole to the top, escapes Hansen's grasp after Miranda, having been fed up with Carmichael herself, arrives to help him. The pair arrive in Prague to find Cahill, who is also retired and dying from terminal cancer. Having cracked the thumb drive's codes, Cahill reveals to the pair that Carmichael's dirty history with the CIA includes unauthorized deaths and instances of terror that were conducted with his knowledge and remained unsanctioned by the agency. They are eventually discovered by Hansen's team, who storm Cahill's apartment as 6 and Miranda escape with the thumb drive. Cahill stays behind to hold Hansen off, which she does by blowing up her residence at the cost of her life. Six is eventually cornered by Czech police officers, who handcuff him to a park bench before being killed during a shootout with various mercenary teams that had all arrived to collect the bounty on Six. Once again, Six eventually manages to escape and reconvenes with Miranda before heading to a hospital crowded with injured civilians to obtain the serial number for Claire's pacemaker. It's during this time that Six reveals to Miranda that he originally went to prison for murdering his abusive father, which he did to avenge the physical and emotional pain he inflicted on both Six and his younger brother. He tells her he doesn't regret doing it, as he knows his brother may have died if he did not intervene, but instead regrets the life it led him to lead. While the two get a location on the Fitzroys, they are ambushed by Avixan, the lone wolf, one of Hansen's hired guns, who steals the thumb drive and makes for Hansen's base of operations in Croatia. Deciding to go after Hansen themselves, Six infiltrates the Croatian mansion while Miranda takes out various security members as his sniper before obtaining the thumb drive from San, who willingly hands it over to her after growing disillusioned with Hansen and Carmichael's lack of honor. Six manages to rescue Fitzroy and Claire and leads them to the roof of the mansion, where Fitzroy is shot by enemy fire. Promising to take care of Claire, Six escapes with her by jumping off the roof into a neighboring pond while Fitzroy sets off a hand grenade to deter Hansen's team, killing himself in the process. Having survived the explosion, Hansen tracks down Six and holds Claire hostage in a nearby hedge maze. Six convinces Hansen to let Claire go, assuring him that their fight should remain between the two of them only, and Claire makes her way out of the maze to Miranda as Six and Hansen square off. Six gains the upper hand at first, but Hansen fights back after pulling a knife, putting Six in a lock and attempting to drown him. Six recalls an old memory of his father attempting to drown him, as well, and finds the courage to take Hansen down. However, just as he is about to finish Hansen off, Brewer arrives at the scene and shoots Hansen dead. Following Hansen's death, Brewer shoots Six in the leg and continues to hold him at gunpoint, making him promise not to leak any of the thumb drive's information to the public. Given the history Brewer and Carmichael share as former classmates and friends of Hansen's, revealing their shady dealings and their knowledge of his actions would not only destroy their careers, but would also have the potential to lead to the agency's downfall. Six complies before collapsing and being taken by paramedics to an underground recovery center beneath CIA headquarters in Langley, Virginia, where he remains under close surveillance. The thumb drive is later destroyed. 2 weeks later, the devastation in Prague remains a topic of interest to the world at large. But an investigative committee ultimately acquits Brewer and Carmichael of any wrongdoing related to the incident, placing the blame firmly on Hansen. Having been subservient to Carmichael for most of her career, Brewer threatens to leak their secrets herself if any harm comes to Claire. The two come to the understanding that keeping Six under heavy guard may be the only way to guarantee their secrets never go public, but upon entering the recovery center, they discover that Six is no longer there and all of the security guards watching him have been incapacitated. The film's final sequence sees Claire holed up at a CIA safe house, where she, too, remains under heavy guard. Entering her bedroom, she finds a record player and a note asking her to play the accompanying record loudly. Once the song, Mark Lindsay's Silver Bird, a song Claire and Six bonded over during their time together, begins, Claire hears a car approach the house and watches as the guards standing post outside begin to fall one by one to an unknown presence. Distressed by this turn of events, she closes her eyes and covers her ears as the stranger continues to fight off her security. Finally reaching her room, this stranger is revealed to be Six. Overjoyed to see him, Claire rushes into his arms and the reunited pair leave the safe house together for an unknown future.